Okay, so I don't know. I guess it's kind of weird. I'm sitting out here just getting ready to do this little this tape. But I think the first order of business, I need to take off these shades. Maybe get all my mask off, right? You know, 'cause like yeah, my name is Owen. Owen. That's me. Um, so I want to thank Denise for asking me to maybe present this, do this. Professor Denise, um, uh, Professor Denise Hazley. Um, yes, an amazing woman, amazing lady, amazing family lady, and all of that mentor stuff, and all of the good stuff, right? She's an amazing lady. So anyway, y'all better just listen up to her. That's for sure. Anyway, so she asked me to do a few things. I'm not even sure if I got my head wrapped around it a little bit because, you know, uh, I guess I got maybe 15 minutes, maybe she said, or something. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to download all everything. But I'm out here by the lake. I think I'm out by the lake, trying to get some fresh air after working the whole day. Working never stops, right? You know, I'm let me give my location of self, my kind of thing. Location of self, or who am I? Okay, so I am. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I'm a brother. I'm a. I'm I'm about community. I'm about people today. Um, as a professional, I'm a, I'm a service provider. I can't say social worker, or I can't say social service worker. I, I learned, that I can't self-identify as such, despite whatever credentials I acquire until I'm registered. That's what I learned. In all these years I've been working, I'm considering myself as a social service worker or a social worker because that's the field I'm in. That's what I've been practicing. But I learned through a great professor, another great professor named Gordon Pun at Ryerson, Pon at Ryerson, that no one can identify themselves as a social worker or social service worker um, unless they're registered. So yeah, new knowledge, and I go with it, right? I think at the end of the day, how I self-identify that's what matters, right? And I lay claim to being a service provider or a supporter of individuals. So who am I? I'm a professional uh, caregiver, service provider. I'm an advocate. I'm a mentor. I'm a facilitator. I'm an educator. I'm somebody that's I've walked that million-mile walk, that journey of addiction. 20 years of addiction, actually. Um, and again, started off with the social acceptable stuff, and graduated to the hard stuff, hardcore. Um, and before I knew it, I crossed the line and I got addicted to a lifestyle. And that lifestyle involved a lot of things and brought about a lot of things. Pain, trauma. I'm a trauma survivor. I'm trauma informed today as a professional, but I'm also a trauma survivor. Um, and I remember some dark days, right? Some real dark days. And not sure, uh, not sure about anything. I've been homeless. Was homeless for a long time through the years of addiction. Um, Today I have a home, I value my home. I'm protective of my home because I've got symptoms of being homeless and symptoms of being a trauma survivor. A lot of things of, I'm still single. Um, and again, because of a lot of unhealthy lifestyle, some things about fear um, plays a big role in my symptoms today. I'm managing. I'm coping. I have coping skills that I use, but some things, it becomes it becomes ingrained. It becomes hardwired, right? So it takes time. I think one of the things I practice today around is self-love, and and how I motivate myself and encourage myself and support myself is critically important. If I'm going to work in this field, that's one of the things I have to I've learned to embrace and practice. Um, is that I look at how I support myself in those endeavors of self-care. Right? I meditate. I love meditating, and I became a runner. You know, I think uh, when I talk about letting go, and it wasn't just about a lifestyle and letting go of addiction and associations, and you know, it was the hardest thing to do because living that lifestyle, it was, I lived in adrenaline. It was, I lived in adrenaline, right? The rush of it all, of living on the edge. There was no going back to normal in my mind for a long time, and so even when I got sobriety or got clean and sober, and I'm almost 11 years of sobriety now, right? So and that includes cigarettes. Thank you. 2 years ago, I gave that up, and finally, I managed to, you know, not light up, right? And a lot of things of what I do has allowed me to look at health and wellness even more and closer, right? Um, yeah, so today my challenges around life today, again, as I said, how I cope and how I manage, and, relationships is a challenge, right? Relationship, personal relationship, I would love to have one, that's for sure. But relationship with family, a lot of damage has been done, right? Emotional stuff. And sometimes when I get together with family, there's still that elephant in the room, and those things of those dark days, right? And, many, they still look at me with that eagle eye, family, right? They still look at me like, because the door was closed for me a long time ago by family as well, right? And disownership, and, they love me, don't get me wrong, but there was a lot of sadness, right? I lost my children's mom to addictions. She died 12 years ago, I think it was, and so I've been a single parent, and trying to heal and bond with my with my with my fellow my fellow my fellow um, folks and people and society, and a whole lot of stuff has become very, very challenging and very hard, right? But slowly but surely, I think I got brave a little bit to start to do a few things that kind of matter, and to nurture a few things, the mind, body, and spirit, right? I used to go to 12-step groups and all of that stuff, and God bless it, it did a world of good for me. But I think once I recognized that my perception on life has changed, I thought that it was about how I give back. I didn't want to just limit it to the rooms. I wanted to be inclusive with community, of how I be a service provider and a supporter of my fellow human beings. So I didn't just let go of 12 steps, but I just didn't make it just, I didn't have thought it was just critical for me to be in that space, right? I wanted to present myself by walking the walk, not just talking the talk. Community gives me a lot of that, right? I was working in residential, and again, you know, social justice is one of those areas, right, where, the law played a huge part of, over maybe 25 convictions, 35 convictions. I got my pardon now, though. Yeah, finally got my pardon, and so that allows me in my professional work to grow, and I was working in an organization that supported me in the beginning, right? They worked with me and they helped me, and I went back and I worked with them for 6 years, as a service provider, and but it was, again, some shady stuff. Not everything is fair, and that's what I felt. But either way, I didn't complain, and I was humbled because I wasn't deserving of having any position really, because I was so unemployable once upon a time. So when I say to myself today that no matter where I'm at, as long as I'm clean and sober, I'm still a million miles away from those dark days, and I'm forever grateful, right? I put my best foot forward. I get up, dress up, suit up, and show up for life every single freaking day, because yeah, it's a thing to do. My life has to be about action. It has to be about growth. It has to be about discovery and presenting myself in the humblest of way, right? So that I can soak in and learn and whatever I need to learn, right? And it's not so much about the big things. It's not about credentials. It's about the small things, the little things, right? I love life today. I didn't like people much once upon a time, and people didn't like me. Holy smokes, Anyway, when I talk about the police and I talk about, oh boy, there was a lot of days of being in holding cells and running from police and looking over my shoulder and all sorts of stuff. And, I could talk about some real dark, crappy stuff. I was chased by X-Acto knives more than one time, more than a whole lot of time. And yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat things and bite my tongue. I was working for a gang. I was involved with gang life once upon a time, and my jaw was shattered, my face was shattered in 7 places. I could go on and on and on. I don't wish the life I've left behind on my worstest enemy, right? Not my worstest enemy, my children's, they felt that, they went through so much. I put them through so much. I want to say I take ownership for how things were. They were awarded to the courts, CAS, and all of that stuff. Today we have I want to say great relationship. I want to say a good relationship. We talk as often as we can, and everyone lives a distance. They live a distance, and they know they're really supportive. My daughters, they're in sobriety. They've been sober. I think I lost track. I tried. We don't even talk about it really. They just acknowledge the way I've been living, and they've been seeing things have been kind of like working for me, and they've just started practicing some stuff on their own, and then if they have any questions, they can always ask me. They know, I'll never lie to them. I'd never lie to anyone. What for, right? I tell you, some things about the principles and values and how things have changed and how I look at life today. Again, sometimes I think life is not exactly fair. I'm still in debt, that's for sure. School, I went back to school and I got a couple of credentials in diplomas at, George Brown, and then from there I'm now in Ryerson, trying to get a BA, a bachelor's, right? Pre-admissions program has been over, so I soon I'm going to go and check to see whether they've accepted me to the BA program, right? It's, I'm 53, 54. I don't want to say that I'm any kind of a special case or deserving of, so I'm still grateful wherever I'm at, whether I go through with it or not. I'm not even too sure if I want to, because I'm trying to just keep balance. And balance is important, and that's a challenging thing, but balance is so important. I think for someone that's rebuilding a life after a life at this later stage in life, I think I can't afford to minimize how important balance is, right? If you're someone that's coming from, from my era, and you've managed to, elude death for a minute, and you've reached a point where you're now just being a humble observer of life, I want to say that balance is one of those things that can make the biggest difference, right? How you implement balance, how you show love, right, is one of the greatest things you can practice. How you show love is something, and how you show love and receive love and give love, right? So where I'm at today is I'm doing dental stuff. I've got a new job. I'm in housing now. I was a residential. I'm an addiction special. I won't say specialist. I want to say that I'm someone that have working knowledge around addictions. I have some credentials, mental health. I have some credentials. So all of that is the target group that I work with in concurrent disorders, right? And I'm working in the housing sector now, which is trying to support individuals to obtain housing, concurrent disorders, individual to obtain housing and to maintain their housing, and utilizing coping skills and different kind of strategic planning stuff, and so we can do so, and doing a wraparound service around them, right? So that they can, just have a little bit of stability and sustainability, right? I want to say that I'm not a fan of I want to say abuse, emotional abuse, and all of those things, and bullying and stuff. Individuals that have gone walking those million-mile walks and trying to survive every day. Sometimes, of course, society can be mean, right? Life can be mean, right? And sometimes, showing love is one of those things that can make the biggest difference in someone's life. Someone did that for me. A few people did that for me. Some people were presented in my path, and where I was given an opportunity to just like catch my breath, right? And look at life from a different lens, out of a different lens. Every day I get up, I give thanks. Every day I get up and I give thanks, and rightly so. Whatever's been watching over me for these years has never let me go, and they've never actually, so, and I've had a chance to kind of like just evaluate that. And my faith is huge. My faith has gotten huge, through meditation, through certain spiritual principles. My faith, and it's evidence-based, right? I get a chance to see evidence, right? Of my faith, right? Based on my faith, right? So there's nothing that I cannot, I feel that I can acquire. All I need to do is just like recognize that things will be where it needs to be. Nothing happens before it's ready to happen, not a second before, right? And when change is ready to happen, change will happen. The willingness is something that's, I think, oh boy, I managed to see some things, and it's allowed me to build a formulation or build some things around my willingness, right? My willingness to do all I can. I think I peeled Superman off my chest a long time ago, but it's still there. Sometimes I still think I can do more than I'm doing, right? And I'm always pushing myself, right? And that's not based on health and wellness so much. Sometimes I got to realize I need to slow it down, take it easy, and just like, and not just like overthink it, right? Life is life, right? And I've had my shot of life, and now it's just about day at a time, step at a time, right? That's where my head is at. You can also catch me on Getting Our Run On, step by step on YouTube. I've done some stuff around that. I had fun with doing some of those things, but it's we that dash 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 getting our run on, or just type in Owen Williams, right? Enjoy. Okay, bye bye.